I'm down with the sickness.
You've been down with the sickness for a long time.
Yeah, no, I suddenly came down with a horrible cold yesterday. And it really dragged me down. I'm feeling better today though. So that's good. I knew I was going to do the show regardless because I've heard you guys try and host it without me, and good lord.
No, for some reason, I just thought of like a school bus full of children just going right off a cliff. And I was like, yeah, that's probably about right. When Mike's not around, it's just a school bus full of kids, no driver. The bus driver jumped out long before the cliff.
Bus driver has to save themselves.
Yeah.
Who's going to drive the next set of kids?
He doesn't get paid enough to give a shit about the future of the world.
They didn't hear him when he said tuck and roll.
Yeah. Nothing like starting your day with some dead children.
I was going to say. You just, Dave, it's like, wake me up early so I can get coffee. And it's like, this motherfucker first gets coffee and he's ready to go with the dead kid jokes. Like, immediately. Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, I don't know what else we have to discuss here.
Welcome to Word Rango, the game show where dictionary definitions produce knowledge and comedy. 4 words enter, 1 word leaves and is crowned champion. Our steely nerve competitors, a writer, another writer, a voice actor, and that other guy. And now it's gloves off. And set your dictionaries to fun. It's time for Word Rango. Here's your host, Mike Suzak.
Welcome to Word Rango. My name is Mike Suzak. It's episode 51. I am so thrilled. We crossed the threshold. We crossed the, what is it called? I think
there was like a precipice involved at some point.
Well, it's like when you carry your bride across the
threshold.
Continental divide.
The Continental Divide. Thank you. So we crossed the Continental Divide.
The Mason-Dixon line.
And we're
cross your Mason-Dixon line.
And we're now past the Rio Grande. We're so thrilled to have you people listening with us this week. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for believing in words, which is what we do every week. We give people words and their definitions, and it sounds hope. And hope. And it just sounds so crazy, but trust me, the things you hear is mind blowing. As far as some of the words, like our language is so cool and important. And this is no longer a comedy podcast. This is just a science and words podcast. I forgot to tell you guys this. I'm joined this week by Bob Ball.
I've got spirit. Yes, I do. I've got spirit, and I probably need an exorcism.
Dave Hinkle.
Horse apples.
And Ryan Lewis.
Pain in vagine. Let's do this.
What was that?
I feel like there doesn't need any explanation.
Okay.
We got a problem.
All right, that's fine. Just hit the rewind button if you need a double take. We can't do that live, so I'm just going to leave it there.
Well, no, we can.
Horse apples. Oh wait, what did we do?
So last week we had a fantastic set of words. We had a 3-way tie thanks to Bob's inability to vote correctly. So Dave, Ryan, and I all tied with Pantler, Breast Summer, and Daisy Peigle. I mean, absolutely incredible. Of course, this also means that by nature, the tiebreaker goes to me. I have first word this week. My word is puggery.
Oh, nice.
Puggery?
Nice.
Puggery. Ryan, how do you think it's spelled?
Puggery.
Close. It's Puggaree.
Whoa.
Ah.
Puggery.
And so it's like written on like a trapper keeper, like with the junior high girls, like little marker with a heart over the R for some reason.
Right. Like on a Lisa Frank folder. Yeah. Puggery.
Puggery. Wow.
Puggery.
Double E.
I got this.
Go ahead,
It's
Bob.
mine. Oh, puggery. So, do you know when a lot of people like get those morning drinks where you put a bunch of like spinach in there and like a handful of raspberries and they blend it all up? So, a puggery, instead of being like a puree, is when you take all of that stuff and you shove it into a pug.
Aww.
And the pug purees it for you. Now, you do have to wait about 12 hours for your puggery to come out.
Oh.
But when you do, it's full of all these microbes and probiotics And yeah, it will be. It'll be full of a lot of stuff.
God.
Probably like some floor food as well, or
Floor
maybe
food?
some like salted peanuts that you dropped on the floor that the pug found.
Yeah, floor food. Of course. We all know what floor food is. It's part of our daily lives. But is this like those bats that eat the coffee beans and then they like poop them out and then it's like supposed to be the best coffee in the world or whatever? It's kind of like that.
Is that a bat? I thought it was some kind of like llama.
This really is a science podcast. First off, that's great.
Those bats are so high on caffeine all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They like never sleep.
Stockbroker bats.
They get so much work done.
It's a Kopi Luwak farmer holds civet feces with embedded coffee beans.
Yeah, civet. It's not a bat.
It's a cat.
Oh, it's some kind of like bat thing though. Some bat monster.
It's not a winged animal. Nah, I think it's like
Change that B to a C.
Okay.
Cat,
B to C.
but
Put that C right inside your B and enjoy it all night long. Wait,
what is
I don't
going
even know
on?
what that means.
Okay, so you're basically eating dog shit, is what you're saying.
No.
No, it's processed
it's a
pug meal, guy. Processed pug meal with floor food.
Well, listen, Mike Suzak. With your attitude, you are never going to sell any puggery.
You're right. I'm not. I'm not choosing not to. I don't think the FDA is going to approve this at all. Like
Only if they read the fine print.
well, I don't know. I think this is like the next big trend. Dude, fucking floor food. I like that that's like an actual like genre of food. It's like it's going to get to the point where you're like,
It is.
What kind of floor is that food on? So it's not just like you're eating macaroni and cheese, like you're eating like linoleum, sat on linoleum macaroni and cheese kind of
Are we slowly gearing ourselves towards creating a floor food restaurant?
Oh, snap. Is floorfood.com taken?
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Absolutely. Like different kind of floors. Like you want like a tile steak.
Tile steak would be probably pretty good. I
like
think.
a tasteful white like tile with a nice slab of beef on it, or like you want to eat yourself some jambalaya, but it's like put it on a nice piece of pergo. Like it's part of the presentation. Absolutely, it's
everybody that walks into the restaurant grabs a carpet square from the door. It's like you're in kindergarten again.
Oh, wow.
And here's the best part. Here's the best part. Our hostess can be the Pine Sol lady. Pretty awesome, right? Like that totally work.
That would work.
Okay, we got to stop the show right now and go plan this right now.
I mean, the thing is you need a lot of floor space for this one too. So this is more of a restaurant that's spread out. We can't really build it. I mean, we could build it up, but you need a lot of floor space because you have to not only make the food on the floor, but you're sitting on the floor. I mean, like there are no chairs, there are no tables. But tables are sort of a concept where they're just sectioned off areas of the floor. Yeah. And then we could have it where, when you think about it, like where you sit also determines what sort of food you're eating, in the sense that, let's say you're like, I would like to eat this off of some oak, or I would like to eat this off of some shag carpet, And so you're actually picking the sort of floor that is going to go along. It's going to pair with your meal as well. So you're like, everything about it is all about the sort of food experience, the dining experience. I think it works.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, what is a table but a piece of raised flooring? Like, I mean, we're technically already eating off
some
of the floor.
Nietzsche stuff right there. I feel like, yeah.
It really is. You're not wrong. It's a flat. All you need is a flat surface. I mean, like, okay, so let's say that there's a certain taste that goes along with a ballroom floor after a wedding, and people have been dancing on it for hours. So you've got a little bit of sweat, you got a lot of whatever's under their heels. Rice. Maybe a couple bare feet. And then, it's just rice.
And listen, with Uncle Danny there and the way he drinks, probably a little vomit, too.
A little vomit, but not too much, you know. It's a classy wedding. It's a classy affair. Uncle Danny, you can't contain him. But yeah, I'm super into this. Bob, I don't care all the other stuff you said. Your definition for puggery is floor. Puggery is basically the restaurant where we have floor meals, right? Is that what you're saying? Because you'll win. I guarantee you're pretty much going to win Wordsmith this week if you go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that then.
Okay, good. Dave, what do you think puggery means?
Well, I actually don't think it's puggery. I think it's bourgeoisie. It's a French word. It's a French word. So you guys have heard of the bourgeois, right? Like the kind of middle class layman kind of uncultured swine of the world. The Doritos pretzel bites slamming, soda swill drinking kind of folks out there. So the bourgeoisie is the same thing, but within the dog world. So you have these dogs that are just kind of like really refined and really like high class living, upscale, right. It's your, and this can apply to cats too. I mean, it's like the cats that eat like Fancy Feast versus the cats that eat like, part of your fettuccine Alfredo.
Man, that sounds so much better than Fancy Feast.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that fancy.
I mean, it's a feast. I think a feast in general has a certain innate fancy quality to it.
In general, it doesn't matter if it's in a can. It's a feast, so it's obviously very high class. Okay, no, keep going. That makes sense.
Here's a pro tip. If you're ever throwing a dinner party and you're worried about how fancy the dinner party is, just pile more food on the table. As the food goes up, as the food goes up, as more and more food is presented, the fanciness level rises, the culture level rises. So a handy little tip for you. So you have those dogs out there that are willing to just eat any old floor food, and then you have these dogs that are like, oh no, it has to be the right pairing of floor food. Like, I'm not going to eat spaghetti and meatballs off of a concrete step. Like, that's just ridiculous. I mean, who do you think you are trying to serve that trash to me? You have dogs and cats and I guess other pets, maybe lizards, mice,
there is
things like that.
We have to believe that there's some sort of hierarchy within the animal kingdom. I mean, like if you pop on like a Nat Geo and shit, they're talking about alpha males as far as like leading a pack of wolves or lions or whatever the fuck. Like, there has to also be some sort of other class system. Like, as disappointing as that might be for some, because that can, that's a whole social issue in itself. But you're not wrong. There's sort of like, it's the bourgeois of the animal kingdom. Like, dogs. Now, what I'm trying to think of are what sorts of dogs are the ones that, you kind of described them a little bit, but I'm kind of thinking like there are probably certain types of dogs that have that sort of like, get that sort of upper tier, regard compared to other ones. Like, think of the show dogs and stuff like that, like the ones with like the long fine coats of fur or something, as opposed to the fucking dachshunds, which are great, but they're never really gonna be that upper.
Like, dachshunds and corgis are like really dumb and really fun and upbeat, but like really
they'll
dumb.
eat fucking anything off of the floor. They'll eat anything off the floor. But you want a dog that's gonna turn its nose up at certain things too.
I mean, you guys haven't seen Lady and the Tramp. I mean, I feel like you guys are just experiencing a whole new world. This is like
this is true.
Some known shit.
It is some known shit.
You go to these dog shows, man, and like they have on their collar it says "We are the 1%." Like they're just sitting there, just like these entitled pieces of shit. I know it's pretty sad.
This is like Animal. What is it? Animal Farm. George Orwell. I don't know why I'm referencing like actual literature in this show. We never fucking do that.
Yeah, we don't read books. That's fucking dumb.
We talk about words, but we don't read the books. So, but no, it's like I was trying to think like greyhounds or something. Like those are like the fucking hopped up on coke race dogs. Those
are the James Deans of the dog world. They burn the brightest, but they also crash and burn at a very young age.
You don't want to see Greyhound Spiral. I mean, that's actually a thing with a bus that happens as well, like when you're actually having to ride on a Greyhound. But like an actual dog Greyhound Spiral, I mean, it's bad, dude. It's like on the way down, they do burn so bright.
They do. Shine bright like a Greyhound. I like what you're saying, Dave. I feel like there has to be more of a story that can be told about that hierarchy within the dog world. Maybe we could touch on that again sometime. Probably not. Hopefully. Ryan, what do you think puggery means?
Well, puggery, I think you're kind of pronouncing it a little bit wrong, but it's basically it's a festival that has competitions and it's basically this big huge party that happens once a year, and it's celebrating Huck from season 2 of The Real World San Francisco, and that's a puckery.
Oh, you took it in a direction I did not expect. I assumed you were going to just say, "Oh, it's a bunch of guys getting together, punching each other in the park." You know, like any Irish gathering. But here you went really
competitions. Yeah.
Oh
Dave,
man.
Dave, have you ever partaken in one of those puggeries, like as far as punching each other?
Well, dude, I'm Irish, man. Anytime I get together with the family, that's what it is. We just punch each other in the park.
Nice. You know, what is it about Puck from Real World Season 2 San Francisco that...
Well, he was a 30-year-old bike messenger. I mean, that's amazing. But also, he disrespected Pedro, which was kind of off.
That was
messed up. I always felt like he ate floor food for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, he was like a pioneer when it came to floor food. Mm-hmm. Well-known fact about him. But I mean, it's, why not celebrate Puck from the real world like once a year and have a puckery? Because I mean, what else are you doing with your time? That's something else. I mean, we idolize these people on the real world, and rightfully so.
Right.
Ruthie, right? I mean, she knew what was up.
So Puck seemed fairly intolerant, as I recall, on the Real World. So would Westboro Baptist Church, would they protest or would they participate in the puckery?
Wow. I think they'd protest. Is what they do. Yeah, I think they'd protest.
The one time a year that the Westboro Baptist Church bros out.
They just bro out. It's like, we're picketing, but we're totally in favor of this douchebag. Like,
we're gonna relax and unwind and pop open a Keystone Light.
Yeah.
All right, can we get back to what exactly these competitions are? Because obviously there's the Puck lookalike contest, but I want to know more specifically about the activities therein with this puckery, please.
Okay. Well, what are normally you have like the burlap sack kind of potato sack race, so you definitely do that. But there has to be a twist to that, right?
Yeah, you're using messenger bags.
Oh yeah,
okay. So it's the puck-tato sack race.
The potato sack race.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not super familiar with all of the goings on of Puck, unfortunately. But
well, you need to attend a puckery.
I do.
One of those competitions has to be yelling at neighbors. So like the loudest yelling of non-specific hate speech.
Man, Bob, you're explaining what happens when things stop being polite and start getting real. So I think you nailed the spirit of the puckery right there.
One last thing before we move on. One thing that definitely has to tie in now to our floor food restaurant, Wolfgang Puckery.
Oh.
Yeah?
Okay.
Oh.
Puggery. Let me give you guys the definition. It's a noun. It is a light scarf wrapped around a sun helmet or used as a hat band.
What are these
I fucking
words?
love.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa. What the hell is a sun helmet?
Think of it. I believe a sun helmet, and this is something that I'm going to Google just to make sure. Mm-hmm. But I believe a sun helmet is, think of like the dude that was wearing like grayish kind of more. He was wearing more khaki-ish sort of colors from like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Mm-hmm. He's like, it was like
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's like. No, not Indiana Jones.
the guy, Mr. Jones.
He was in The Fugitive. I can't fucking remember his. No. One of the other dudes that I think turned out to be like with the Nazis or something. But
Jabba the Hutt.
It's like a hat, but it's got more of a round, hard top, so it's more of a helmet. But it does have a brim to kind of guard out the sun as well. I believe that's what a sun helmet is. But a puggery is that band that goes around your hat. It's usually like a cloth or something, and it instantly classes up your hat. And I feel like we fucking need more of these. Yeah. Because
Are they made out of pug skin?
What?
Are they made out of pug skin?
No. Bob?
So this band is for hats, basically what a metal chain is to wallets and like Jenko jeans. So it's like a nice little accessory for your, garb that like kind of classes it up a bit.
I don't think the chain ever classed anything up.
Oh, that classes a wallet up.
Does
pretty,
it?
Yeah.
Were you one of those guys that had like the big straps and suspenders that would hang down like alongside your jeans that could fit like 4 people in them?
No.
I totally if you Google this shit, I know what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about like something that like hangs off the hat. It's like a little strip around the hat.
Exactly. It goes around the hat above the brim. And
that is classy.
And it's not just the band, but that's where people attach like brooches and they put like gems and stuff. It really it takes like, okay, people wear fedoras like ironically, but they look dumb half the time. If you add a puggery to it, and you maybe add like an heirloom of sorts that attaches to that, immediately it just your hat style and fashion jumps up like 10 notches. It always looks great. It always looks awesome. You look like a dude that's in like a 1950s movie or something, you know? It's great.
So it is. And I think, you know, like from all the sins that the guy who made Jurassic Park, like not like the guy in the actual movie who came up with the idea to do the park, that grandpa,
right?
Like, dude, he fucked things up. It was horrible. You know, like dinosaurs could have eaten the world, but he had a fucking baller puggery on his hat that really just made it so you're like, you know, like whatever. This guy did some things right. So
I'm remembering it. I'm trying to find a picture of him because, he had more of like it was kind of almost a straw hat of sorts, but he still had a puggery up top. I mean, it really is like it's one of those details that really like defines a character too, because we remember that in movies. Puggeries are fucking cool. They are. They just are. I mean, like, you picture these hats with the puggeries, and you kind of start coming up with, like, the dude from Jurassic Park, or the dude from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he was also
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he was also in Star Wars. I don't know.
I mean, it's not only function, or it's not only form, it's also function, because, like, I like that little band, because you can, like, tuck a Kit Kat in there for later or something, you know? Or like, I mean, if you have a cap and you literally want to put a feather in your cap, how the hell are you going to do that? You can't poke a hole in your cap. You got to put it in the puggery, yeah.
You put it in the puggery, and I love the idea of, like, you're all classy and everything, and then you're like, give me a break. Give me a break. That's great. Let's get to our next word. I know how much we love puggeries. We can vote for that later. Ryan, I'd like for you to go next. What's your word this week?
Oh, man. You know, I like to keep things classy as well. And so I like to dabble in words that have a little splash of French in there.
Ooh, okay.
So, you know, today is no exception for that.
Today's word is French vanilla. Just a splash.
Today's word is Sarkozy. Okay, no. My word is degringolade.
Degringolade?
Degringolade.
Okay.
So I need Dave to try spelling this because I know it's going to go well.
Day, D-A-Y, gringo, lod, like lemon lod, L-A-D-E.
What?
No, it's got to be D-E, gringo, L-A-D-E, right?
Man, nailed it.
Nice.
So
on some level, the E has an accent over it. So
Oh, D-E-G-R-I-N-G-O-L-A-D-E or L-A-D?
L-A-D-E, yeah.
L-A-D-E, okay.
Like we'd probably pronounce it, degringolade.
Degringolade.
Yeah.
But really, if you got some nice, if you're a floor food connoisseur, like if you're gonna have a nice like filet mignon, like sitting on top of like a raised,
I am.
It's degringolade.
I'll go first. And I know what you're trying to do, Ryan. You're trying to get us hung up on the word gringo, and I'm pretty sure that is like a slang term for like foreigners of some sort, like it's usually Spanish or Mexican people, I think. And I'm not a huge fan of using that term. I know you want me to try and trip down this so you can use it on me later. I'm not going to fall down that. What I am going to say is degringolade is when someone, they're not a pervert, but they have the face of a pervert. So it's like James Spader. James Spader's pervert face is like it's iconic, and you look at him and you're like, that guy looks like he's gonna watch me in the shower, you know. But it's like he's probably a nice guy, you know, good actor, whatever. You got no problems with James Spader. John Lithgow, you look at him and you're like, the way he just sort of has this odd look, you're like, that guy is got to be a total fucking perv. Or it's like if you put a pencil-thin mustache on Michael Emerson, again, a pervert face. You know, so it's...
Hey, just quick question about this pervert face. I know that I don't have one. We'll just go ahead and check mark that off right now. But let's
say...
Had
to clear my throat.
Let's say that for some reason, I just happen to have John Lithgow's face in a briefcase sitting next to me. Does that make me a degringolade?
That's a whole other, that's...
Yeah. I don't know that that's the qualifier. It sounded like Suzik really was onto something when he said, you just draw a pencil-thin mustache on anyone, let alone really Michael Emerson. You take Tom Cruise and you draw a pencil-thin mustache on him, and all of a sudden it goes from dreamy to like, oh shit, hide my kids.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Bob, and I think that there's some power in having John Lithgow's face available and handy in a briefcase that you could just pop out and be like, pervert. But I mean, being a degringolade, I think it really sucks, and especially with the pencil thin mustaches, nobody needs to do that. But it's like you're a perfectly fine, upstanding citizen, you know, but you just happen to look like a creepo. You know, and that's being degringolade. Like, it's something that it's a topic we never broach because it's uncomfortable to talk about perverts to begin with, you know. But then let alone the people where it's like, I don't trust them, and it's like you got no reason.
So this is like every guy who bags my groceries down at the store.
Potentially, yeah. Where do you go? Where do you go to shop? I'd like to know that.
Perv market.
Perv market.
I mean, it's a little creepy to be in there, but I mean, it's like the savings.
Yeah. Is it like the hidden camera store or something?
Pervco has the best prices.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's gross all the way around is what it is. It really has to be tough to be James Spader, especially with the pencil thin mustache. He just can't do it.
Spader's gonna spade. Get it? Yeah, it's like
that is no. I think his publicist is way behind not actually going that route, like making T-shirts for that shit and like, you know, wallet chains.
Wallet chains.
Spader's gonna spade.
Bob, what do you think degringolade means?
Well, degringolade. This is a French lemonade that's made out of people that you won't miss.
Whoa. This is some like Soylent Green shit.
Yeah,
it is. So let's say you're walking into it's not like a fine French restaurant. It's like, hey, you're trying to save a couple bucks, so it's like a mediocre French restaurant.
Right. You all know the type.
Guy, and yeah, you know, we were all there last night. The guy, the waiter, the day waiter. Let's go ahead with that. He walks out with his pencil-thin mustache and asks you where you would like to see it. I'm like, anywhere that you're not telling me. And then you go and he offers you something to drink, and you say, I'll just take a lay water. And he brings you out this cup of what looks like a little chunky lemonade. And you're like, okay, I'll give it a try, you know, when in France. And then you just take a little sip and you're like, this tastes a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Brittany Murphy.
No bueno?
Hey, I think people miss Brittany Murphy.
I know. Whatever. Rolling with the homies.
It tastes a little salty and like Brittany Murphy. What is, and that's degringolade.
So you're drinking people?
Yes.
Okay. Who is not going to be missed? There is
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's weird about Dick Cheney is that he's already dead.
Yeah, right. That's like people, you can't miss him because he's already been dead for so long.
Yeah, I there has to be more. I don't know why I'm struggling.
More than Dick Cheney.
Well, it's because I try to be as sympathetic as I can to people. You know, like I say, okay, let's talk about what's in the news. Joan Rivers passed away. Okay?
I think some people will miss her.
A lot of people are going to miss her.
Spaceballs.
I've seen so many people that are just like, you know, I've seen so many people, you know, be it on Facebook or Twitter and stuff, that are just like, she was such a pioneer for comedians and that. I get it. But while she was alive, people fucking loathed her. Okay? Yeah. Like, that was a thing for a couple years.
Listen, loathing her and just being afraid of what she's done to her face are two different things.
That's true. It's a lot of fear. You fear what you don't know, and you don't know her because she doesn't look like a human being.
Right.
Seth Rogen, I kind of loathe. I would not mind him being ground up into a degringolade.
Seth Rogen or Joe Rogan?
Anyone with the last name Rogan.
Rogan.
But I was going to say with Joan Rivers is that I think that she doesn't fit this now, but while she was alive, it was a lot easier for some people to say that they would love to have a taste of that after she's gone and that they won't miss her. You know?
Are you sure they said it just like that?
I am positive they said it exactly. That is a quote. That's a direct quote. That's on the bottle, actually. But I'm just saying that, like, you know, sometimes that changes. You know, sometimes it's like, you know, as it turns out, I do miss, you know, Philip Seymour Hoffman or something. Or
I do miss Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I miss him so much, actually.
Yeah, every day.
Phenomenal. But I mean, you know, like, I think this is going to be really tough to sell because the second someone's like, oh, you know, I have a bottle of Joe Rogan here, I miss him, you know?
Yeah. You think Philip Seymour Hoffman's in heaven right now riding a horse?
Maybe.
Or riding the horse?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, that has a different connotation, but yes. Riding the snake.
Yeah, but what about, I mean, I appreciate that point, Mike, but, you know, think about like a good, like, 2007 Guy Fieri, you know, like, I mean, you're going to drink that. It's going to taste great. It's going to be really thick. It's essentially chugging ranch from the bottle, but you know, you're not going to miss that motherfucker while you're drinking it, you know?
You're not
Always
at all.
got to bring Guy Fieri back into the mix, drinking ranch.
That guy. Or Charizard. Those are my only two choices. So.
Man.
More people will miss Charizard.
I'm just picturing Dave sitting here. He's got two Post-its in front of him. One of them says Guy Fieri, the other one says Charizard. And he just looks at them while we record the show.
Dude, no, but he also has, like, knifed into the table, like,
right.
Kill. Like, that one's just always there, like, on a standby.
And he's just ready, kind of like, okay, well, at some point, these are going to come up.
Yeah.
And I know where to go from there. Like, but, you know, you're not wrong. Nobody's going to miss Guy Fieri. Him, I would do a taste of him, but I don't think it would be good. I think it would be pretty awful, actually.
I don't know. It'd be either like drinking ranch dressing or like drinking Cheese Whiz from a can. Like, that's about it.
It'd be a mixture of like Cheese Whiz, ranch dressing, and then like
and frosted tips.
Middle America.
Frosted Tips, Middle America, and bacon grease. Like, that's Guy Fieri.
Oh,
in a
man.
nutshell.
Can we make like a cocktail, like a Guy Fieri shot that's just like bacon grease with like a tiny bit of cream on top, so it has like thin white.
Right.
What's the alcohol in there? Or they're just not. It's
bacon.
like, no, fuck it.
It's bacon infused vodka. Let's do that.
And there's like a tablespoon of mustard, but it's like it doesn't mix with everything else around it. So you're just drinking all this liquid, getting bits of mustard, and then you have to like basically eat the mustard afterwards. Like, yeah,
Heck, man, get Applebee's on the horn.
Yeah. So next time, listener, that you're at a fine drinkery,
yeah,
like Coiffers, I want you to go in and like, hey, can I get a shot of the Guy Fieri?
And the nice thing though is that we can introduce a lot of this stuff at Wolfgang Puckery. Where people eat it off the floor. And I mean, we've talked about this before, but hey, when you have some liquids, you got some soup, cup those hands together, everybody. Just cup them together.
Yep. I like it.
Galpan. Who do we need yet? Dave.
Yo.
I think we need what's it called from you? De Gringolade?
Yes. So it is you guys ever have horchata before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's sugary milk.
Yeah, it's like a delicious kind of rice almond milk. I guess it comes from Mexico. I don't know. It's a Spanish drink. It's the drink of Spaniards. But
nope.
It's the drink of Spaniels.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, Spaniels. I misspoke. So de Gringolade is actually a drink, but it's used to dupe and trick and change gringo foreigners that travel to Spanish countries. They drink this mixture, and it actually eradicates all their white DNA, and they turn into a local indigenous person of the island. So you forget your whole past, you forget everything. This is actually where the idea of reincarnation came from, because back in the day, from a drink that the Mayans invented. And what they would do is, when Germans came over to like check out the temples and like, see some of the kitschy kind of tourist crap and buy magnets and stuff, they would basically feed this or serve this de Gringolade to these gringos, and it'd just kind of be like it's just like a little laugh to themselves, and then they'd watch them drink it, and then magically like all the white would just soak right out of them and kind of go up into the cosmos, into the atmosphere, and then there they would be born anew in resplendent Spaniard glory.
What the fuck?
Spaniard. I like how Dave doesn't know the difference between a Spaniard and someone from like Latin America. He's just like using those interchanges.
I'm picturing Dave's like map of the world as being like this big blob that's like the US of A, and then fucking like everything else like kind of scattered everywhere.
Yeah, it's East Philly, West Philly. That's the whole US.
Then you have San Francisco.
Yep.
And then you have pretty much
The United States of San Francisco.
United States of San Francisco. And thank you for reminding me exactly what a gringo is. I got that wrong before, but yeah, it is like a U.S. citizen that's visiting more of a.
I think a Canadian could be a
Canadian probably, but yeah. Okay, so de gringolade. I like horchata. I like that. I would be kind of terrified though if the color started kind of like soaking out of my skin and I started sort of changing and I suddenly, if I could speak like fluent Spanish though as a result, totally worth it.
Well,
so wait,
habla
Dave,
Espanol, dude. I can teach you all the Espanol you want.
Yeah, I think I'll pass.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, does de gringolade work only when you're in a foreign country? Like, let's say I drink it in Mexico and I become Mexican.
Well, yeah, it doesn't keep. You have to get it fresh from the well.
So let's say that they get it fresh from the well, bottle it, and send it to Mike Suzek's house.
Mm-hmm. Well, unless you can
and he drinks it there.
Right.
So is it a localized power?
Well, actually, yeah.
So will all the white drain out of him and will he become cheese?
No, nothing like that. I mean, you don't. You're on the right track. It is definitely a localized magique. It doesn't really happen to work when you are so if he's sitting there in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is pretty darn white. If he drinks it, he'll just stay the same. But if he goes to Wyoming and drinks it within the Wyoming state borders, then he's all of a sudden like a sheep farmer. Like he just will turn into that.
Well, I gotta respect the process. I'd be an apprentice first.
Oh, right. Yeah. You can't just drink a magic potion to be a sheep farmer. You got to work your way up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So get the white out. De gringolade.
De gringolade.
the white out. Wow.
Ryan, de gringolade. Tell us what the definition is.
I think that's also the slogan of the Klan.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Their laundry bill must be huge. Must be crazy.
So much dry cleaning.
You know how hard it is to keep
bleach.
those whites white, man? It's just a pain.
There's so many other jokes.
Wow, did I just sympathize? Did I just fucking sympathize with the KKK on a podcast?
I'm pretty sure you just did. I'm going to just walk over here. And
Are we done? Are we done? I think
we're just so many other jokes I want to insert there, but I'm afraid of all
of them.
I
think we're completely done. Like forever.
Shut her down.
So, Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell us what de gringolade means?
Yeah, I think Dave nailed it. Refreshing. No. So de gringolade is a quick deterioration or breakdown as of a situation or a circumstance. So I think we actually experienced a de gringolade in on its own self while we were trying to define de gringolade.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like letting me talk for more than 20 seconds, and like I will de gringolade so hard.
Dave the mic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's something to keep in mind. Okay, well, it's cool that there's a word for that. It's such a complex word to describe something that really is so simple, too, you know? But I like that. I like it. Let's get to our next word. Dave, what's your word this week?
All right, my word this week... That's my word. My word this week is jobbery. Jobbery.
Jobbery and puggery. Wow, you guys are
know,
cute.
right?
Yeah.
So is jobbery Jobbery?
Ding, ding, ding. Correctamundo.
Jobbery. Okay.
Yeah, not jobbery. Jabb.
Wait,
It's
is
different.
it Jobb?
Yes, J-O, like, you got to get a J-O-B if you want to get with me, like that song or whatever. It's, I think there was a song like that once. Jobbery. Yeah, there is now. There definitely is now.
Ryan, I'd like to know what you think jobbery means.
Well, a jobbery is a festival that they have once a year in San Francisco to celebrate Jabba the Hutt. And it actually competes with the puggery.
It does.
Puckery. So it's kind of it's an interesting world when those two worlds collide in San Francisco when the real world clashes with the universe of Star Wars. Tatooine, most likely, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
that's really yeah. No, it's an interesting mix of crowds that come in because I don't know what the crowd is that goes to a puckery, like people who are super enthused about the real world, specifically season 2. But we all know what Star Dorks look like, right? Because I mean, we kind of look like that, right? You know, per face is the same for Star Wars as it is for our faces, as it is for James Spader just living life, basically.
So Jobbery, I mean, I'm trying to think of what things would be celebrated there for Jabba the Hutt.
Oh,
Metal bikinis.
I mean, it's like a Klingon convention. They're all speaking the language, absolutely. But it's also a really great sanctuary for rats that just like to laugh a lot. You know, like like the Salacious Crumb fans. Like it's for them too. And yes, that rat's name is Salacious Crumb. I
like that. I like that a lot. Jobbery, I'll go next. I'm gonna jump in right away because I was struck by inspiration. Jobbery is actually a sitcom. It is a sitcom starring the two people that we've met before for co-robbery, Rob Zombie, Rob Schneider.
Nice.
And they are, think of it as like two broke girls, except starring Rob Zombie and Rob Schneider. They're working a diner. They're just trying to make it, getting jobs. And, basically every season of this sitcom, they wind up fucking up their jobs, constantly getting new ones, and they're just barely making it. It really is basically two broke girls, except you subtract the girls and you add Rob Zombie and Rob Schneider.
I would watch the crap out of that.
Wouldn't you?
It's an amazing formula. Yeah.
It really is. It's incredible it hasn't been done before. I mean, you know that Rob Schneider's available, and Rob Zombie's basically just making crappy horror movies now. So why not? You know, and you could get a flavor of what their catalog is in each episode as well. So you've got Rob Schneider being like, "Ooh, would you like fries with that too?" Like, I don't know.
Oh, and the customers are super scared of Rob Zombie.
Of
right?
course,
he still hasn't cut his hair, and he looks like, I mean, seriously, like a Grateful Dead fan that's just been basically reincarnated into like a metalhead.
Right.
That's just basically, yeah. And the thing is, when it comes down to it, he's just in there like, will you like some fries with that? And then Rob Schneider's just in there, doop-a-doo. So, I mean, it's a formula that I think...
You'll save a bunch of money if this is a value meal.
And the best part is when, they open up like the cash register and a bunch of fucking blood starts pouring out and stuff. And it's like, Rob, I got you, Rob.
Yeah, you can hear the laugh tracks for that.
Right.
It's just because most of the people are going to be horrified,
right?
Most of the time, so you're going to have to want to insert that in. But I mean, this is a winning formula.
It is. Yeah, that's why it's like you got the co-robbery going on, but you also have jobbery, and I just think that sometimes you got to take their one part of their entertainment spectrum, and then you got to flip to the other. The co-robbery was more about Rob Zombie's performance, and now jobbery is more about letting Rob Schneider shine a little bit more, and have it be more of a comedy. I think it fits. It really fits. Bob, please tell me what you think jobbery means.
So, jobbery is when you are in a public office that you have stolen. So it's kind of like a job robbery. So it's like Rob Zombie and Rob Schneider running for mayor. And you tank both of their campaigns. And you win as like a third-party write-in candidate. You totally jobberied that.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was that you like went into like this office center in like some kind of strip mall where these basically it's a.
I was thinking that too.
Like an H&R Block, you just walk in there and be like, "I'm taking this," and they're like, "What?" And you're like, I'm taking this office. I'm stealing it from you right now. And you guys can go home or do whatever you want.
Right.
Actually, you know what? Keep working because I want to make some money off of this whole. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I don't have access to any, the HR department and payroll. I got to get that all taken care of. Man, this is a very complex robbery.
It is. I mean, imagine just showing up and then, basically you sneak into the back. You grab a work shirt. You just go into like one of the lockers. You grab a work shirt and a name badge. They're like, hold on a sec. You're not Rob Schneider. Oh, actually, I am Rob Schneider. And
I'm taking this.
And I'm also the district manager.
Do you think there's like a moment of realization every morning when Rob Schneider gets up where he has like, for just a brief second, he like doesn't know that he's Rob Schneider yet, and then he looks in the mirror, he's like, "Oh, I'm Rob Schneider."
That's right,
and then
Rob
he just
Schneider.
gets real sad.
He's got a real pervert face too.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
just say,
yeah.
On a different level.
He practically invented the pervert face. Like it's like Rob Schneider came into the world and then brought like the evil of the pervert face with him or something. Like he is our curse, He's also one though that I would probably drink a bottle of.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You'd slam a Schneider?
I'd slam a Schneider.
Okay.
I'd do that. Yeah. I'd quaff it. This is good. I really love how all of these words interconnect in I feel like we're spinning a true tale throughout this episode. But what we need to do is we need to find out what jobbery actually means. Mm-hmm. Please tell us, Dave.
Okay, jobbery is the practice of using a public office or position of trust for one's own gain or advantage.
Well, there you go.
So your Rob Fords, your
Rob Schneiders.
Your Rob Schneiders.
How is Rob Ford using this to his advantage?
Well, I imagine he used his position as mayor to meet a bunch of people in his city and find the one that would sell him crack cocaine. So...
yeah.
That's a pretty elaborate plan to get some cheap drugs.
Well,
most people don't have to go to those levels. Like,
but you know what though? I mean, you
like I can't smoke crack till I'm elected.
you criticize it, but it worked. I mean, that's the thing,
right? Yeah. If there's anything you can say about Rob Ford,
we all know what Rob
plan.
Right. We all know what Rob Ford keeps in his puggery.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else pulls out a Kit Kat, and he pulls out some crack. And it works. Yep. It just works. I really like the using. I mean, because it is a thing that people get accused of all the time. Mm-hmm. Whether you have just more of a regular 9-to-5, or you're in a position of power or authority, you hold public office. I mean, there's always that sort of suspicion of someone that is using, public resources and stuff to their advantage, to their personal gain.
Yeah.
I just like, so, I mean, the thing about Rob Ford, I mean, he had this elaborate plan just so he could smoke crack. And I like that, Michael Jordan didn't like playing basketball. He just wanted to sell shoes really badly. And so he just like, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on this. And then eventually I'll just be able to sell shoes.
He actually inadvertently became the best basketball player ever. That was never the goal.
He was just in it to get some comfy t-shirts. And here he is now. Yeah.
There's actually like the real controversy and the, what is it called? Conspiracy to it all is that he had the design for Air Jordans drawn up in like 1983 or something. Mm-hmm. Like nobody knew, and he already had it planned or something,
He seriously, like, he was perfecting hot dog recipes so he could eventually sell Ballpark Franks. Like, I mean, before Ballpark Franks were even a big thing, he's just like, man, that's a good hot dog. I'm going to sell this shit. No matter what I have to do, I'm going to fucking be the spokesperson for a hot dog. That's what I'm going to do.
Michael Jobbery. He's such a freaking sly fucker that he was always in it for the money and for the personal gain, and he just used the Chicago Bulls to get what he wanted.
He just used his like 3 championship rings to fucking,
or 5 or whatever.
Just make shoes, or 5, I don't know, whatever.
I don't know. It's a lot. He's incredible. And he was also it was all the long con with Michael Jordan.
It really was.
It was. Yeah, I love that so much. We have one more word to get to. Bob, please tell us, what's your word this week?
As a form of jobbery, welcome to the Bob Ball Show, starring Bob Ball. This week's winning word, friends, is brought to you by friend of the show, Jeff Duke, and it is... Camelopard. Camelopard.
Camelopard?
Camelopard.
Camelopard.
Is it CHAMELOPARD?
No, but you're close.
What is it?
It is CAMELOPARD.
Camelopard. Oh, camelopard.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was thinking it is, right?
Yeah, it's camelopard.
That's how you pronounce it. I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah,
Ryan,
now that you pronounce it right.
Ryan, or no, actually, we'll have Dave go first because you had the last word. Dave, what do you think camelopard means?
Camelopard is actually it's pretty rare, but you do see it sometimes, and it's an overly respectful and overly kind of meek and overly what's the word I'm looking for?
Overly.
Yeah, overly. Ovary. It's an ovary. No, it's a camel that's very polite. It's a camel that always gives you the right of way.
Very kind.
At camel crossings, he or she always gives the right of way. It's very courteous. Never spits. Never, because a classy camel never spits. And it's just generally a really nice, cool camel.
Oh, madam, well, pardon me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Because, camels obviously speak with English accents.
With, like old British ladies, yeah. Like, I mean, that makes, like seriously, they watch a lot of Downton Abbey, so it makes sense that camels are going to be like that. But we've all seen this, right? When riding your camel, and there's some dick camels who are just going to sit there and cut you off. I mean, it's real slow, but it still happens. But then there's the camels, oh, no, after you, and they just... sit there.
I was trying to think of the word that we've had before, but it wasn't for camels. It was for elephants. Wasn't it a mahout? The person that takes care of the elephants and you rent them from. I know that we've had something with camels in the past. I feel like there's a word for that I'm just not thinking of. Maybe I'm thinking of yakdon, actually.
Yeah.
But even so, I like that. I like, it's not all some animals are just total dicks. So it is nice to have a really kind, sweet camel that, would you like some water from my hump?
Never. Yeah.
It's cool. I like it. Yeah. Ryan, what do you think camelopard means?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like back in the 1800s, everyone was very refined and very, very proper. So they had to come up with a word that described when your pantaloons would get caught up in between your legs and make a shape that looked like a certain animal.
Oh,
so that was back then. They called that a camelopard, basically. Today we'd call that a camel toe, but right now, those are the origins of it. It was a lot more fancier term back then.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going at first, and wow.
What happens?
I always enjoy that sort of journey.
Yeah. It really takes us up into the Great Divide. That is
you did it.
That is fantastic. I mean, because when you look at I don't know, the Renaissance period and stuff, and what people would wear then, camelopard makes perfect sense for that. There's just. Ugh, I don't even know, man.
I mean, the thing is, the camel toe, since the dawn of man, it has existed. It's been something that's been there. Cavemen sitting there, they didn't even know what a camel looked like, but their little loincloths got wrapped up in there, and it made the shape of a camel before they even knew what a camel was or a camel's toe. Anyway, and so it's back then they wore so many layers, so it was kind of a rare occasion. But you're with your missus or your mister. And they've got their, their corset and their pantaloons and then their underdress and their overdress, but they lift it up and you're like, it's like this glorious sound and this glorious sight of oh, is that a camelopard? And then, you make weird, Renaissance sex, which they had to do it, right? Because we're here.
Yeah.
But, it's still done today at Ren fairs.
Camelopards. Yeah. It's a major, you got your chicken legs, and then camelopards. That's, if anything.
Hey, yeah, I just want to go get a turkey leg and maybe wear some chainmail and then go over to that camelopard booth. Yeah.
Just take that monocle off, and let's get down to business.
There were monocles at Ren fairs? That sounds like...
Apparently Dave does.
Well, okay, guys, I'm sorry. I hate to kind of derail the podcast, but if you're going to talk about...
He dresses up like Uncle Moneybags.
If you're going to talk about Ren fairs, then I'm going to drop some knowledge on you. But yes, there were artisans in the Renaissance era. These were people who handled gems and needed a monocle to look... I don't know if monocles really exist.
Yeah, because you can... If you feel embarrassed that you dressed up like the Monopoly guy at the Ren Fair because you're like, oh, no, don't pass go. All right, free parking. Yep. You too.
I thought this was the rent fair. You stopped at Illinois Avenue, I thought. Son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
All right, camelopard. I will go last here. All right, so I think this is one of those words that has this sort of ingrained meaning that's kind of evolved over time. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why the word is phrased the way it is, but it wouldn't mean exactly what you imagine. So take this journey with me. First off, you have camel. Okay, what do you think of with camel? You think of the humps, you think of the fact that people ride their backs. That's the important thing we pull from this. Riding a camel's back. Then you have the pard part, which is actually more like pardon. Mm-hmm. So it means that, let's say you're in a heap of trouble, you're in like a rural town and they're going to send you into their, one cell jail or something. And the way that you get out of it is that you agree to carry someone on your back for like the next couple days. Because you basically are cameling them around. Okay. So it's a camelopard is basically, it's, they didn't used to call it piggyback rides. They would call it a camel ride. And so, yeah, you were toting people around. Usually it's like the sheriff or the mayor. And yeah, you're performing your camelopard. So that way you can get out of whatever trouble that you've gotten yourself into, like them Duke boys. And yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those things that doesn't happen as much nowadays because, we believe in like, you're either fucking, getting the full extent or you're getting nothing. Like that's how we've evolved. We love putting people in prison. We don't like people cameloparding others around. And we've got, supercars now. We don't need that, but back then, it wasn't as easy to get around. There weren't, comfortable shoes to wear. It sort of sucked to walk all the time and stand around. They actually didn't have chairs. So it was just like, if you really wanted a nice seat and you wanted to get into that, you would find a criminal that needed to serve their camelopard. And then you would say, all right, I know that I'm putting up with someone who has already broken the law, but on the other hand, I have a comfy seat. I have, a bed to lay on because you can use them as a bed too. And they can tote you around if you're going to go to market and go to the town square, hit the old dusty trail, go hiking. You have a camelopard to take you wherever you need to go.
I always use...
And then after they serve their time, they get camelopardon.
Correct, yeah.
So you can take the red eye via camelopard, is what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
That has a different meaning.
Yeah.
With the camelopard shows you the old red eye. Yeah, and I can see this actually being on the books in states like Alabama still. Like where they just like, oh shit, we forgot to. So like this prison inmate's like doing time and stuff like that, and his attorney is like, just this dude who's just really conniving. And he like finds this in the books that it's still on there, that they haven't taken it off. And he's like, "You're in luck, buddy. How do you feel about carrying around Rob Ford?" He's the mayor of Alabama. But, yeah, no, I mean this actually sounds like something that happened.
It probably is.
All of Alabama has a mayor, just one.
Dude, I mean, they don't want to mess around with details, like I mean, I guess
if you get a good one, you just need one.
Well, he's not so much a real mayor as it is just like a drunk guy who declared himself the mayor of Alabama, and everybody just went with it because Alabama's like, whatever, dude. Like we're Alabama, it kind of sucks here, so we'll take any like excuse to mix things up, shake it up a bit. That's my understanding of it, at least.
That's fair.
It's that they're polite. It's that Southern hospitality. Mm-hmm. They're like, "You're the mayor, sure,
sure, y'all."
Yeah, so let's get the real definition of camelopard quick. Bob, what does it mean?
Camelopard, it's basically it was like two Latin things and Greek things like shoved together.
What?
Wow.
Like if you take like an olive, and you take
The first part
Delicious.
is camel.
Okay.
I mean, and it literally means camel.
Okay.
That second part I think is Latin for it's pardalis for leopard. So this basically is like camel leopard shoved together because early white people, when they saw this animal, they're like, hey, we're stupid. Let's call this a camel leopard. But what it actually was the original name for a giraffe.
Oh.
Well, I say, that animal over there looks like part large camel mixed with some sort of leopard. Did a camel have illicit relations with a cheetah? No, you stupid big game hunter. It's a giraffe. It has a name. His name is Steve the Giraffe.
No, Rob Schneider, it's not a camelopard.
I am legitimately fascinated by this. I hope you're not lying to us. But
I could be. I mean, I have bent the truth in the past, but no, today it kind of dropped off use in like the 19th century. So when people woke up and realized, oh wait, that's not like a camel leopard. That actually is its own thing that came from space. It is a giraffe.
I mean, this is the sort of thing that if you go to a zoo and you take a tour, they go to the giraffes, and you're the douchebag that's raising his hand while the tour guide is talking, and you're like, let me tell you about the origins of the camelopard. And, they're like, oh, this fucking guy. Like, I get it. The whole camel leopard thing. Shut up. My tour. Like, I know you paid $5.99 for this, But I mean, I
feel like you should stop taking the tours that I'm on if you don't like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. But no, I really am fascinated by this, and I love the fact that we've legitimately had some good science and biology-based stuff, and zoology, and astrology,
pugology, gringoology.
It's been really good. This has been a real good episode. What we need to do, though, is we're going to do our escalator pitches and get to the votes. And
rock the vote.
Rock the vote. I will go first. Puggery, guys, it's so great. I know that we've had a lot of really good words this week, but with Puggery, you got the double G's and the double E's, and so it's already like phonetically and just the visual of it is a great word. But then on top of that, super fashionable. The band that goes around your hat. There should be more of this. Just in general, but I mean, it's just, it instantly classes up any outfit that you have. I think that this is something we could own and really make ours, I think Puggery, just that alone, really should make it your word of the week. Ryan, please give your escalator pitch for degringolade.
Yeah, I mean, I if anything, I'm a classy individual. When people are talking about me, they're like, "Oh yeah, Ryan Lewis, super classy." Also Macklemore, but degringolade, I didn't necessarily want you guys to focus so much on the gringo part of it, but you did, of course, because you guys go for the simple route. Sure, whatever, that's fine. But I mean, this is like one of those words. It's so nice, it's so fancy. That you just enjoy saying it because degringolade, it's just if you drop that shit in a sentence when you're talking to someone, they're automatically going to think that you eat like the finest floor food available. Basically, you're going to go to that level. But really, what this word defines and what it really means is it just describes like basically anytime we just start defining a word on a podcast, like I just did there, where my sentence started out like, and it just started to deteriorate as soon as it left my mouth. So there needs to be a fancy word to say that, and degringolade is your word.
It's sort of like Dave speaking, just in a normal setting.
Yeah.
It just degringolade. Yeah.
It's like most people take a moment, think about what they're going to say, kind of form a cohesive thought. I just like open my mouth and let the stuff fly out. And then eventually I know I'll get somewhere of value if I just keep talking and keep going. Degringolade.
I've got these 2 sticky notes with
Charizard. Let's see, Charizard.
Yep, Charizard.
Fantastic. Dave, please give us your escalator pitch quick for jobbery.
Sure. We've all dreamed of, having a sand barge. We've all wanted to employ Boba Fett. And we've all wanted to know what it feels like to be digested over 1,000 years in the stomach of a sarlacc. So, oh yeah, of course. I mean, who hasn't? That's just fun bar time conversation right there. But yeah, jobbery is good stuff. It's fun word. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. I feel like Mike knew that I was going to have another word this week, and he cut me off at the pass. I didn't like that at all. Not one bit. not one bit, sir. No how. But jobbery, it's pretty great. Don't get thee to a nunnery. Get thee to a jobbery.
All right. And Bob, your escalator pitch quick for camelopard.
Camelopard. Outside of the outstanding definitions that my friends, I'm going to use that in air quotes, friends came up with for camelopard, I want you to know that in the 14th century, we were idiots. Complete dummies. We thought that this thing was a camel leopard.
Yeah.
It's a giraffe. A giraffe. An M-effing giraffe.
All right.
That's what happens when you let drunk Steve name all the animals.
All right, good. Let's get to the votes. I'll start.
Well, that cheetah looks like it has sex with a camel.
As a camelopard.
All right. Well, I have to vote. I have to pick between degringolade, jobbery, and giraffe.
What?
I'm gonna have to say my number one word this week. This is tough. I keep saying it's tough every fucking week. Oh man.
You know where you need to get thee to.
I think I have to take the approach of what really gave us the best stuff. And that in itself is also difficult. I feel like it's just been a good week all the way around.
I feel like you're stalling.
My number one...
You should just vote for giraffe.
I didn't see this coming at all, but my number one is going to be giraffe. I'm going to pick that. Camelopard, it's so cool as far as the camel and the pardon and all that. I really liked that. I like what you guys had to say.
Oh, well, pardon me.
My number two, though, is gonna be degringolade. I really love jobbery. I'm sorry, Dave. I really love jobbery, but it's just been a weird week with what you guys are all bringing, and I had to pick those two. Just a weird week. Bob, you have to pick between puggery, degringolade, and jobbery.
Not only am I happy that you voted for camelopard, because you love it so much. And everyone should love camelopard so much.
I'm not asking you to talk about camelopard, douchebag. You have to pick between puggery, degringolade, and jobbery.
But I know you voted for it just so I can't screw up the math this week. And I appreciate that for camelopard as well. Camelopard 2016. Okay. Are we done here?
No, you have to fucking pick between puggery, degringolade, and jobbery.
Fine. My number one choice is I really want to go to this jobbery. I want to go see Jabba the Hutt eat things.
All right.
And then while I'm there, I would like to have a delicious degringolade.
All right. Ryan,
so there's my number one and two.
All right. That means, Dave, you have to pick between puggery, degringolade, and camelopard.
I, too, have to go with camelopard. It's pretty unique. It's pretty interesting. It's a fun word to say. It's got a lot of vowels in there. I mean, we just don't use vowels enough anymore, you know?
Put your vowel in there, baby. Yeah.
So I got to go with that for my number one. And then degringolade, I got to go with my number dos, my numero dos, because it's just so bueno. It's just so refreshing. It's like, you're out there working a hot summer's day, and you're like, man, I'm just so sick and tired of my ethnic background. How do I change this? You got to crack open a nice, cool bottle of degringolade and, get the white out, man. Get the white out.
Get the white out.
Get the white out.
Oh, my God.
You're like, you know what? I'm 31 years old. I've had enough of this ethnic background. Let's see how the other half lives.
I've really had enough, like, ultra privilege, you know?
Yeah.
I like how you say how the other half lives as if they're only two.
Yeah, I know. That is so freaking...
There's what I am, and then there's everybody else.
That is so... Oh, my God, Dave. Let's move on.
There's no... I'm not putting any kind of value or whatever on it. I'm just saying people are different, and you should experience the other side of things. Easy, breezy, beautiful, through drinks.
All right.
So when Dave drinks his de gringolade, he becomes a beautiful Spanish woman.
That would be fantastic.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Ryan, you have to pick between puggery, jobbery, and camelopard.
Man, puggery, jobbery, like saying those two back and forth or back to back, just shows that you guys are unoriginal bastards that need to stop.
I'm disappointed in the three of you. My word fucking rules. The definition was the best out of them all, too.
Giraffe.
Yeah, it is fancy. For sure.
Giraffe.
It's weird. Because sometimes I just want to pick a word just because I really like have this thought in my head now. Mm-hmm. That George W. Bush basically spent his whole life getting his political career in line, running for president, becoming a president, just so he could have a platform to sell his paintings of kittens and whatever he's doing now. That's all he's really strived for. But yeah. So jobbery is definitely going to be my number one word for the week.
Okay.
And you know what? Why not make it a twofer? Why not just... You guys wanted me to do this. And it's a fancy thing. So puggery is my number 2 word.
All right.
Jobbery, puggery.
Okay. All right. Well, that means that we have another tie this week between Dave and Bob with camelopard and jobbery.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
You want to change your puggery to
No, we can't
giraffe?
change it. Can't change it now.
Yeah, no.
You want to have a third vote, like a 0.5?
No. I just want to make sure that Suzak actually is counting his math correctly.
I count it correctly. Trust me. Every number 1 gets 2 tallies, and every number
is that
2
what you're doing?
Gets 1 tally. Yeah, that's how I've been doing it this whole time.
Shit.
I never tell you guys how I do things.
I don't know
because
what the
it's
formula
more
is.
fun to not have a formula. Bob, cut all of this out in post. But yeah, it's more fun to not have like the formula known. It's it's like Soylent Green. If it's delicious, it's like Gringalade. Sometimes if you are drinking, a mustardy sort of Guy Fieri, you're probably better off not knowing.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. We have a 2. I did come up with a system the other day that I completely forgot on how we'll never have a tie again, and I forgot it. Someday in like 4 months I'll think of it again and then forget it as well. Because I think it's
each week the winner shoots himself.
Wow. We'll run out of people to talk on the thing.
Well, you don't have to
no more ties.
You don't have to mortally shoot. You don't have to kill yourself. You just have to shoot yourself. So it's going to be limping to the podcast.
So you shoot yourself in the foot. No big deal. You'll recover. Great. All right, that's good. So when people want to write in and tell us why puggery was awesome, or just give us recipes for stuff we can eat off the floor, do that. We need it to get our restaurant started. Bob, how do they do that?
Well, you can send all that in email. The little electronic things that you don't actually put stamps on.
We never get emails. People should probably do that a little.
wordrango@gmail.com. You can also send us information on the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Paxes, which we were even at this past weekend. Speaking of the Twitters, Obo Crazy said, happy 50th episode to Word Rango. Thanks for 189 amazing words. I didn't even realize it was that many, and a lot more laughs.
No, that's just ludicrous, guys.
Are we sure it's that many?
That's all the word. Yeah, that's every word.
It was on Twitter. It has to be real, right?
I guess.
The Optimism Club said, congrats on the big 5-0, guys. Also, since we were at PAX, and if you saw me, I was the one standing out in front of 75,000 people every morning, with the giant sign that said download Word Rango. The Double J said, so Bob Alvio has a giant Word Rango sign here at PAX, making him real easy to avoid.
Yep.
So thanks to the Double J Oboe Crazy, Luke McKay, and Casey, who is at Church's Wife on Twitter, for spending some quality time with me in front of PAX as I held a giant promotional sign. Oboe Crazy even tweeted a picture of me, which got retweeted several times. Justin McElroy liked my shirt. Thanks to Nick Bristow for posting a picture of me making fun of Mike Suzek, who was only one table away during PAX. If you didn't see that picture, apparently I can't spell the word donkey.
Nope.
It's a tough one.
Spoiler. Also thanks to Magic Marker 78, Stitcher Radio, Pod Digest, Great Big G, Sailor Tweak, the Richard M. Also thanks to Seven Ravis, who wanted to know about making money for the show, and I have big news. We actually made money at PAX.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks to Brittany, who gave me 6 cents, and Brandon, who made me feel bad about our business plan, and he gave me $1. You guys are the best.
Nice.
Did you have like a hat out? Like, how did they just like walk by and be like, you could use this?
I think they stuffed it in Bob's puggery is what happened.
Yeah, it's just an instinct.
Right up in the puggery.
You see somebody holding a sign, you have to give them cash. You have to give them change.
That's how it works.
Yep.
Also on the Twitter, you should go look up Mike Suzek's Vine about waking Dave up, which Dali Dimovsky said was mortifying. And I'll have you know that apparently when we both called Dave this morning, we both sang to him. This show is so joyous.
You knew that I was going to call him, though. Like, I told, like, Dave always needs to get, like, a little wake-up call in the morning.
Yeah, I'm
because
not
he's
a morning
just like,
person.
You're just like a bear, you know? Yeah. Like, I got to, like, poke you with a stick and then run the fuck away, you know?
So you're a big hairy gay.
Yeah, and in the gay community, I am actually a bear, yes.
You are. And so, like, what happens is I always call Dave to wake him up. We even emailed him, he said, oh, yeah, this has to happen and everything. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do it. So, Bob, you fucking knew it, and you still called him too. I just want to make this known, because Bob is the sort of guy that will get in on that action and probably annoy the shit out of Dave. Like, God damn it, I know that I'm getting another call.
Exactly. I'm the guy at the orgy who's just going to get in on that. Hey, excuse me. Oh, hi.
Well,
How are you?
Elbows at an orgy. You're just, excuse me, just got to get to the other side. I want to get to that cheese dip over there.
Hey, you know what would also be great? You should listen to us on iTunes and subscribe and give us 5 stars.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We actually got one this week. Football in the Groin said 5 stars. Bob gave me pizza at PAX, which I did, strangely enough. He's a saint, and this podcast is epic. Your life has less meaning if you don't subscribe, which I would agree. I'm all over that.
And so, if you do that, bit.ly/wordrango will take you to our iTunes page. And just share the show. If you go to wordrango.com, you can listen right from your browser. We also have RSS feeds that you can subscribe using podcatcher sorts of apps, like Beyond Pod on Android is one that I used to use a lot. It's helpful. Subscribing is awesome. We just deliver stuff to you. It's just free entertainment every week, every Monday. And if this episode is any indicator, we're going to get a lot more science-based, a lot more knowledge is going to seep into your ear holes, along with some entertaining shit. I mean, the best part, I think, is when we come away with these words where we have... Like, you have the real definition that's going to sit in your brain, but you also have this weird shit that you're never going to not think of. It's going to probably cause you to fail a few tests, but that's fine. It's worth it. You know, it's just worth it. So that's what we do. We'll be back next week with 4 more words, their definitions, and lots of other dumb shit. This has been Word Rango.
Hashtag word up.
No.
Hashtag go Hawks.
Horse apples.
Horse apples.